Good night, some nighters. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's having a great night. It is currently 3 a.m. for me tonight, and I am once again back with another installment of our series of ethics under the influence. Today I'm playing Bed Wars. Hell yeah. And last time we talked about the theory of utilitarianism. We talked about that. If you want to hear that, here's the link. I'm putting it up on the screen. Go check it out if you haven't. It's a hopefully, I think it's a great video. It's a great video about utilitarianism. All right, I'll tell you that much, in my opinion, to be honest. Now, what are we talking about today? Today we're gonna be talking about another ethical theory, and this one is called Rawls theory. That guy fucking died. He thought that theory is called Rawls theory of justice. From what I know, Rawls theory of justice is honestly is honestly completely opposite of the utilitarian way of looking at things. So I'm gonna be drawing a lot of things from that video. So if you did not watch it, if you haven't seen it, it would probably do you good to just give it a watch. Give it a watch first. I want you guys to have those thoughts, those ideas in mind while I think about and then talk about this framework, right? So, utilitarianism, not utilitarian. So, Rawls theory of justice, what is it? What is it about? What's the big deal? Who gives a shit about it? Well, Rawls theory of justice says that in order for an action to be ethically sound, the action itself has to be benefiting the least advantaged part of society. That is very important about Rawls. It is all about making sure that the least advantaged people have the greatest benefit. Not maybe the greatest benefit, but benefited by an action. Rawls theory of justice is all about empathy. Empathy for your fellow American, your fellow citizen. That's what it's all about. It's about safety nets, and it's about the social contract that you make with other people. And this, I guess, a piece of vocabulary that is going to be very useful when we talk about Rawls theory of justice is called the veil of ignorance. And what this basically stands is, I guess it's a thought experiment that states under this veil of ignorance, every single person has no idea what their position in life will be. They have no idea what their race is. They have no idea what their gender is. They have no idea what their social standing will be when they're born. They know nothing. They have no idea if they're disabled. They don't know anything. So the idea is, what would a person that has no idea what outcome they would have in life, what kind of social structure would they build into a society, knowing that they could be one of the people that are least advantaged, right? And this basically says that somebody who is risk averse, right? Oh my god, please, my bed. I hate Bed Wars. Anyways, as I was saying, this basically says that somebody who is a risk averse person and does not want to end up as one of the people who is least advantaged would make a society where the people who are the least advantaged would get the most benefit. Basically, they would make a place where least advantaged have the ability to be helped, get resources, and be basically thought about in the society. That is what the veil of ignorance says. Basically, let's say, hey, I don't want to be somebody who is disabled, but in case I am disabled, in case I am born into a house with very low income, I want to make sure that there are societal markers in place that would make sure that I'm not just left alone to fucking die in the dirt and left to fend for myself. I would want to make sure that I am taken care of, that things are going to work out just great for me. Right? That is what a person who is risk averse, that's what a Rawlsian, as they call themselves, or as people call them, would say. Another feature, right, of Rawls's thought process, which I think we can definitely get into a debate here about whether or not it's right or wrong. But I mean, really, what is right and what is wrong to be... Fuck! Okay, he almost got to bed. Like what I said, what is right and what is wrong is... Rawls says that you don't deserve anything. That's right, you don't deserve anything in life. Now, what does he mean by that? We talked about, let's say, social structures, right? We talked about your social class. And I feel like that's something that we could all say you don't have any part in it, right? You don't choose how you're born. You don't choose who your parents are. So if you don't get to have any impact or effect on what your birth is going to be like, why should you reap the benefits of it? That is what Rawls is saying. He's saying that if you're born in a rich family, you don't deserve all that money. You didn't work for it, right? You didn't do anything to earn it. If you're born, maybe you have a natural athletic talent, right? A natural athletic talent. You didn't earn that talent. It is a talent. It is just natural. It comes naturally to you. So why should you benefit from your, I guess, your talent if it's not something that you earned? And the thing with Rawls is, I feel like if you go down this rabbit hole, there's really nothing that you actually earn, right? Like, I don't know, I'm just thinking to myself, because he's kind of stripping away free will here. Oh, fuck. He's kind of stripping away free will, if you really think about it. What the hell? Because let me tell you, let's say there is one person who is an upstanding citizen, always abides by the rules, cares for his fellow man, all that bullshit, right? And then there's another person who is only out to care for himself. He commits crimes, he steals, he hurts people, all that. And then he goes to jail. Does he deserve to go to jail? I mean, maybe, I feel like Rawls would say that his circumstances, his behavior, his actions aren't his fault, because this person didn't choose to do all that stuff. Maybe he was born in a poor house. Maybe his father abused him. All that stuff is... Fuck, man, this game's ass. All that stuff is beyond his control. Maybe the person who is an outstanding citizen, right? That person, maybe they were born in a loving family with parents who have money to actually take care of him or her. Maybe they were taught these values that they live by. You know, don't steal, don't break the law, be a good person, all that shit. Is that the other person's fault that he wasn't taught that? Is it their fault that they had to figure out a way to make ends meet by doing some, I guess, bad things, as most people would call them? Is that on him, or is that on his parents? And is that really on his parents, or is that on their parents? And we can keep going down this rabbit hole of who's really to blame for all this stuff. And I honestly don't think you would reach a conclusion by that. You really couldn't reach a conclusion, because in Rawls's view, we live, I would say, right? This is my interpretation of what Rawls is saying. And I feel like Rawls believes that we live in a deterministic world. And for those of you who don't know, which is obviously very few of you, because my viewers are pretty awesome and they know a lot of stuff. Determinism is the thought that there is no free will. It's the thought that every action is the outcome of another action, kind of like the butterfly effect, if you know what that is. Every action has an outcome, a consequence, and if you do something, that's not because you wanted to do it. That's not because you really did it. It's actually because of this other action that led to you doing that action. I feel like most people who, let's say, I wouldn't say most people. I won't say most people. I shouldn't say the fuck. You guys lagging. I suck. I should say most people. Let's say some people that believe in God. People that believe that God is ruling their lives and that God has his divine plan for you. Right? Everything that happens to you is because of God. They say, my parents always say, if God, I'm trying to translate it. I would always say it in Spanish, and I'm trying to translate. They say, I'll see you next time, right? I'll see you next time if God allows it. I think that's a good way to put it. If God allows it. What does he have to do? Right? What does God have to do with you seeing your aunt in the next family function? Right? What is he? What is God? I keep saying he, but anyways, what does God do in terms for that? People who believe in determinism would say, people who are religious and believe in determinism would say that, well, God has this plan for me. God has this idea of the person that I am, of the things that I'm going to do in life. So every single thing that happens to me, every single action that I do is not really me. That's not me who's doing those things. It is part of God's plan. It is all this. So it's not my fault. It's not, I don't deserve anything that's happening to me, as Ross would say. I have this action that I did. I shouldn't get the consequences for that action because truly I didn't make that decision to make that. It is just part of the sequence of events that has led me to make this action that has been predetermined. Predeterminism has been predetermined for me to take. Come on, I suck. Fuck. And maybe another person that, let's say, doesn't believe in God, this other person, who also is a has a deterministic view on life, can still think of that, but in a different sort of light. Let's say this person, just like Rawls, believes that every action is based on another action by somebody else. Like I talked earlier about, oh my god, that guy shit on me. It was like I talked earlier about the person who everybody would say is a bad person. It's a criminal. Maybe they grew up in a bad family. Maybe they had bad influences. Maybe they didn't have any other option but to be a criminal. Is that their fault? Deterministic person would say no, of course not, because they had no other choice. They didn't choose that action. They didn't choose this life. It is the life that they had. It's the hand that they were dealt. So they shouldn't be punished for that action. Consequently, on the other hand, a deterministic person in a Rawlsian would say that you don't deserve the fruits of your maybe labor, maybe of your natural gifts, because like I said, you don't deserve those natural gifts. And like I said, if you were raised in a good household, if you were treated right, if you had a lot of family, a good family that instilled on you good values, that pushed you to be the best person that you could be, that made you go to college, all that stuff, right? That had the money to help you out, all that stuff, you don't deserve that because you didn't do anything to gain that family, right? If you had a great athletic talent ever since you were a kid and you became a pro athlete that makes millions of dollars, you don't deserve that shit, right? That's not you. That's natural talent that you just happen to have. So you shouldn't be entitled to the gains that gets you. You really shouldn't. That is at least what Rawls wants. At least that's what Rawls believes. That's what he preaches in his theory. Let's take for example this business called Grayston Bakery, right? Grayston Bakery is a bakery. They work with I believe Ben and Jerry's. They make a bunch of like the brownie stuff that they use on some of their ice cream, right? Grayston Bakery has this policy that they do not do a background check on people that apply to work for them. I believe that they hire literally fucking anybody. Now, don't quote me on that. Okay, don't quote me on that. I have not checked fully, but this is what I learned, and this is what I guess I would say remember from what I learned. I believe that they don't do a background check on people, right? And so their whole thing is they want to help the least advantaged. That is pretty Rawlsian, right? It's pretty Rawlsian of them to do. The people that are least advantaged in this case being ex criminals, ex convicts, people that went to jail. That I guess the term would be hard to employ. People that are hard to employ because you go to a job interview and they say, "Oh, I have probation. I used to be in jail. I had this crime." A lot of employers wouldn't be jumping at the opportunity to hire a person like that. Grayston Bakery basically says, fuck that shit. We're going to hire absolutely everybody. It doesn't matter what their background is. It doesn't matter what they've done in the past. We're going to hire them. That is, I believe, what Rawls would do, right? They take the least advantaged person, which is this person that had a bad life, that went to jail, not of their own accord because they didn't make that decision, right? Remember what I was talking about. They don't deserve to go to jail because they just they weren't involved in that process that made them go to jail. It was their environment. It was the way they were raised, whatever, right? But they're the least advantaged person at this moment. So they should be taken care of. They should be helped. And that is what Grayston Bakery is doing. They're helping the least advantaged by allowing them employment at their bakery. Now, where does this get problematic? Let's say, right, Grayston Bakery, they hire somebody who is a thief, right? Oh, I suck at this game. Who is a thief? Maybe somebody that just they can't stop themselves from stealing stuff, and they start stealing money. They start stealing supplies, whatever, from the bakery. What would they do if this person ends up stealing stuff from them? Would they fire them? They're still the least advantaged person. They can't help that that they're compelled to steal stuff, right? Maybe they'll keep them. Maybe they'll try to work with them, help them out. But I feel this changes when what if it's a violent offender, right? What if it's somebody that has violent tendencies, likes to hurt people? Should Grayston Bakery keep that person in? Maybe they get into fights with coworkers. Maybe they assault a fucking customer one time. What should happen there? Is it Grayston's fault for hiring this person? For not doing a background check, for making sure that not making sure that they're for not making sure that they're a good fit to work at this place. They're still the least advantaged person. Nobody in this context, nobody else is hiring them. What are they gonna do if they're not hired? What about in this in a more extreme scenario, right? A company that maybe they host parties for kids. Maybe it's like a fucking Chuck E. Cheese. It's one of those, right, that does a lot of they work a lot with kids, right? What if they hire somebody? Let's say that they're using the same frame of mind as Grayston. They don't do any background checks. Maybe they know that this person is a sex offender. This person is a pedophile. And they hire them nonetheless because this person needs help. They didn't choose to be that. This was just something that happened to them, right? Is that okay? Is it okay to hire a fucking a pedophile? somebody who likes children to work at a Chuck E. Cheese's, to work at a fucking place that does a lot of service to children. With the children, are the children not taken into account in this scenario? It's like the children, this person might assault, might absolutely change their lives, the trajectory of their lives forever, because the company decided that this person is the least advantaged and they should be taken care of, and they don't deserve all the bad things that have happened to them. They don't deserve the fact that they went to jail. They don't deserve the fact that they're a pedophile. Is that ethical? Would they, if the person does harm a child because they work at that place, is it their fault? Is it the company's fault? Whose fault is it? And if it's nobody's fault, then I mean, fuck. What the fuck is the point of anything? Honestly, that is one of the big ways that I think that the Rawls theory of justice really falls apart. In my opinion, I think that Rawls is a bit too idealistic in his idea of humanity and helping your fellow man, because of course everybody, I'm sure, I wouldn't say everybody, I don't want to generalize, but of course most people want to help somebody that is down on their luck. Of course, I'm sure if you see a homeless person on the street, maybe you think about giving them some money. If you see a street vendor that is working, day and night, you see them all the time, working, selling food, you would love to give them a big tip because you feel like they're down on their luck, they need some help. And I mean, why not help them, right? But how much is too much is my thought. How much help is too much help for somebody until it gets to a point where it's just not either ethical or feasible to do. All right, let's talk about this a little further. Let's move away from this Grayston thing, and let's move away from all this and just talk about business in general. All right, let's talk about that aspect of it. And I want to talk about this with a case study I learned about. Don't ask me the name of it because I fucking forgot. Actually, I just remembered it, but I'm not gonna say the name. All right, I'm not gonna say the name, but let's talk about it. All right, this company has both on-call workers that work hourly, right? They earn the money that the hours that they work for, and they have workers that earn a wage, a set wage every 2 weeks, whatever. And the people that work on the wage side get a lot more benefits than the contractors, right? Maybe the contractors and the maybe retail workers, people who work hourly. Those are the people at the bottom, I would say, the people at the bottom of the pyramid, the social ladder. Those people don't get as much money. They don't get as much benefits as the other people. And now this store owner, she's a woman, I'll say her. She thinks about it and she finds out that, oh my God, I have been paying way too much attention and giving way too many benefits to these higher up wage workers, people who are definitely higher up in the company, maybe managers, maybe consultants, whatever, right? I don't know what the people would be doing, but these people are making more money. They're getting so many more benefits, such as child care leave, such as sick days, paid time off, all that stuff that you gain. Hell yeah, I got first place. And she realizes, oh my God, I've created a literally social structure in my own business. And it's not like she meant to do this, okay? It's not like she said, screw all these people who are working hourly, screw all these people who aren't as high up in the company as the other people. Fuck them. It's not like she said that, okay? She obviously did not intend to have that outcome. What she said, I believe, is she said that she was just trying to do a few things, right? First is be like all the other companies. All these other companies that she was trying to emulate had that exact same business models. They had the hourly workers and they had the wage workers who get paid more, who have more benefits, all that. And the hourly workers are basically just shat on. That is just how most industries go. Okay. Another one is if you're a hourly worker, if you work at the factory, if you work at the retail shops, if you work fucking delivering shit, you're replaceable. Okay? It's not hard. I wouldn't say hard work, but it's not skilled work. It's not something that you would have to go to fucking school for 4 years to get that. You're not, to these companies, if you work at that, like that, you're not valuable. You're really not valuable to them. If you say, I hate this work, I'm getting overworked, I will quit if you don't make things better for me. You know what most companies would say? They would say, fucking see ya. Alright? Bye-bye. We don't fucking need you. We can get another person in here in the next day. Okay? Now, obviously, like I mentioned in utilitarianism, it takes money, it takes time to train a new person to take over the role of another person, but still, that money probably doesn't equate to the amount of money that they would save by not giving them more money, by not giving them these benefits, right? So, and another thing is, now that we talked about the lower people, how about the higher people up in the company, the managers, the analysts, all these people that are working higher up in the company that are working for a wage? They're harder to keep, right? I would say that they're a lot harder to keep than your normal hourly worker, because maybe they had to get a bachelor's degree. Maybe they had to work high up in the company chain, learn a bunch of skills in order to make it into this position, right? That person has a lot of valuable skills that you would want, that you would need from them. And they have also a lot of options. They have a lot of options that they could go to another job. They could go to your competitors. So you, as a business owner, it's obviously pretty feasible that you would want to make your job offerings, your pay, your benefits competitive to all those other companies so that you don't lose them. So inadvertently, one way from copying other businesses, one way from making sure that they're more valuable members in terms of skills and money, that value that they add to the company, don't go to another company. Yeah, like she decided, probably not consciously, but just it's pretty apparent, I guess, with common sense, that yeah, these people are some people that you wouldn't want to keep. So let's give them benefits. I'm so good at this game. Let's give them benefits. Let's make sure they have whatever they need so they would stay here and work for me and keep giving me value instead of my competitors. Now, by doing that, she made social classes in her own work. There are these people that are making less money than the other people, that are not getting enough benefits as the other people, and they're basically just being treated like garbage. They're being treated like they're not important to the company. She realized this. Okay, this business owner, she realized this, and she decided to make a change. She made it so that every single person that works for her has the same benefits, no matter if you're hourly worker, a contractor, right, or if you're a waged employee. I died? Fuck, I'm ass. If you're a waged employee, you have a wage in the company. Did I say wage? That doesn't sound right. Anyways, that's the thing. She made it so everybody had the same benefits. And when she did that, she found out just how many people were being let down by her, really. There was somebody who stood up and said, "Does that mean that I could use an hourly worker, somebody who didn't have the benefits as the other person's?" They stood up and they said, "Does that mean that I could use my paid time off to go take care of my sick child?" And they literally said they were about to quit their job because they couldn't find anybody who would take care of their kid, and they were about to quit because they didn't have the benefit. They couldn't afford to go take care of their kid and also be at work, so they were going to quit. And she realized just how horrible she was being to these people. Obviously, she said that she did this out of a moral, I guess, need. So that she had to do it, okay, because of her morals. It was the right thing to do, and there was no other option. This was it. So she did it, right? That is exactly what Ross would do. She took a view of her least advantaged employees, and she said, "Okay, I'm going to give everybody the same benefits, just like that. Oh yeah, look at that, I won. I'm going to give everybody the same benefits because these people need them." There's one case study of Ross, and you might be thinking, that's pretty good, right? Look at the people who are the least advantaged and help them out, help bring them up. And that's all fine and dandy until you see what happened in 2020. What happened in 2020? The pandemic. You see what happened in the pandemic. A lot of businesses closed down. A lot of businesses literally just couldn't do business anymore because of the change. Nobody in the change of, well, everything changed, right? Nobody was going out anymore. Most people couldn't go to work anymore. They had to work from home. What if you're a factory worker, right? What if you're a factory worker that physically you can't work from home because you can't make like stuff in a factory from home? That's just not how that works. So what do you do to that worker? What if you're a retail worker that works at the store, works at a retail store? You can't work at a retail store from home. I don't think. You have to be there to actually make the transactions to help customers with their purchases. You can't do that from home. Even if you fucking could, there's no customers at the stores. There's nobody buying your stuff. There's nobody doing it because nobody's going out. Nobody's going to stores. Nobody's buying your shit at the stores. So what would a Rawlsian do in this situation? First of all, we've already concluded that was a pretty Rawlsian thing of this business owner to do, to help out her least advantage by making sure that everybody has the same benefits. But yeah, what would a Rawlsian do in the pandemic? In my opinion, I believe that a Rawlsian would see the needs of the least advantaged people, the factory workers, those people that are working at retail, those people that can't go to work. They can't go to work and they're not making any money, and they would do something for them, right? Maybe that's keep paying them the same wage. Maybe that's giving them stipends to take care of themselves while they're not going to work. Something, right? That's what a Rawlsian would do. They're the least advantaged. You have to help uplift them. What now? I want you guys to comment down below. Pause the video, please, and comment down below. What do you think she did? What do you think this business owner who had a moral belief that she had to do this for her workers? She had to help them out because it was the right thing to do. What do you think she did when the pandemic hit with all her workers, that she gave them benefits and she helped them out? What do you think she did? Comment down below. Okay, you did that? You did it? Fucking awesome. Alright, here's what she did. She laid them off. Yeah, she laid all her workers off. She stopped paying them, and they were basically out of luck. She fired them, and she said, "I hope you have good luck and fuck off." Basically, I can't pay you. That's not very Rawlsian, okay? And I think she had a lot of backlash for what she did, because I mean, she literally had this entire thing. She said, out of a moral obligation, I have to help these people who are the least advantaged. I can't stand seeing them face this much hardships. I'm gonna help them. And then at the time where they were facing the most hardship, she couldn't do anything for them. She actually did worse than not doing anything for them. She fired them. She let them go. What do you think that's going to do to that person? I mean, obviously that person doesn't have a job anymore. They can't make money anymore. They're laid off. They're basically, their entire livelihood is over. I'm pretty sure, and obviously in the pandemic where this, nobody knew how long it was going to last, obviously, right? Nobody knew how long it was going to last. They were just dead in the water at that point. Is that ethical to do? Do you think? You think it's ethical to lay your employees off during the pandemic, during COVID-19? It's a lot. It's hard. I would say it's definitely a hard decision to make, because one, yes, obviously these people, they mean a lot to you. They're your workers. Without them, you wouldn't have a business. And it would be easy as somebody outside to say, just keep paying them, keep helping them out at least. They're your workers, they're your employees. But here's the thing, at the time, in 2020, nobody knew how long the pandemic was going to last, right? It could be a few months, it could be a few days, it could be a few weeks, it could be a few fucking years. It could just keep going on forever. Who knows? Now, if you're this business owner, if you're a business owner and your business is literally making zero sales, you can't make any money because nobody can buy your product, nobody wants to buy your product, nobody needs your product. What do you do? If you keep paying your employees for basically to do nothing, you're paying your employees to do nothing because they can't work. And even if they could work, nobody's buying your product. So you're just paying them just because you're going to run out of money, right? Maybe if you knew how long it was going to be, maybe a month, a few months, a week, a few weeks, whatever, you could do it. You could give them that leave, that time off, whatever. But you don't know, right? You have no idea how long that shit's gonna last. You really don't. And you face this dilemma that's basically, if I keep paying my workers, I'm not gonna have a business anymore, right? I'm gonna run out of fucking money. And the second I run out of money, I can't pay them anymore anyways. So what do you do? Hell yeah, I won. What do you do, really? If you're utilitarian, I would assume that you wouldn't pay them. I would assume that you would think about the business in general. It is more important to keep the business alive so that once the pandemic is over, whenever that happens, you have enough money to keep going, to keep your funds up and hire more people, make a more benefit to more people in the long run. That's the thing with utilitarianism. They care utilitarians. They care not just about the short term, but about long-term consequences. And if you're a Rawlsian, oh fuck, I'm gonna die here. Oh, get Jude. If you're a Rawlsian, of course you care about the long term, but you need to also think about the short term consequences of your actions. These people are out of work, and they're not gonna have a good time now that you fired them in the pandemic. How are they gonna make money, right? And this is where I think raw seer justice really falls flat for me. Like how I said earlier in the previous examples, right? How much is too much? How much responsibility does one person have to take over another person? And how much responsibility do they have to take care of somebody else? How much is too much? If you're rich and like filthy rich, you're a fucking billionaire. People expect you to donate to causes. They expect you to be a champion for all these different causes. And I'm sure most rich people donate, mostly probably for tax purposes, right? They donate for tax purposes because donating helps your taxes go down, all that shit. And maybe a lot of them do it because they want to, because it's the right thing to do. But then a lot of people get the idea that because you're a fucking billionaire, right? You have $20 billion to your name. If you didn't donate like 50 million dollars, they'll say, hey man, what the fuck? That's like chump change for you. Why don't you donate 1 billion? Why not 2 billion? You have so much money. Why aren't you donating more? That is what Ross would say. Ross would say, you have all this money and you don't deserve it. And there's all these people that are disenfranchised, that are having a hard time, that need this money, that you could donate them. Like, they don't deserve the money either, but they also don't deserve this hardship that they're in that made them need the money in the first place. So if none of you deserve the money, then the person who is the least advantaged should have it. They should be donated this money because they need it, and you don't deserve the money that you have. Why don't you donate to them? I feel like that happens a lot on Twitter, right? You see a celebrity donate however much money to a cause, and people berate them because why didn't you donate more? And at some extent, I understand. Really, at some extent, I understand. If they really cared about this cause that they're donating to, and they're not just doing it for clout, for clicks, for to be seen good, as a good person, I feel like they would donate more. I feel like they would. But like I said, how much is too much? I mean, seriously, do you want a rich person to donate fucking half of their entire net worth for a cause in order for you to believe that they really care about it? Well, let's say, how about you? Would you donate half of your money to a cause? Now, obviously, that is different, right? You have less money. I'm sure if you donate half of your money right now, you would be in a horrible financial situation. Oh, I suck at this game. You'd be way worse off than you used to be. You probably wouldn't. Maybe you wouldn't have enough money to pay your house bills, to pay off your car. You'd have to go into a completely different social class. And of course, if you're a billionaire, you donate half of that $1 billion. Maybe you're still a fucking billionaire, and it doesn't matter, right? So at that point, I get it. I really do. But do they have to? I feel like they're already donating millions of dollars. They're hundreds of thousands of dollars. However much, they're still donating money to a cause. Isn't that good enough? I don't know. Like, it's hard. It's a hard thing to fucking think about. Like, I really want to hear what you guys have to say in the comments, in the chat, all that. I really want to hear your opinions, because it's honestly such a hard thing to think about, and to try to just go over in your mind, whatever. It's hard. Let's think of another example, another thing I learned about in class, another case study, another business, different. It's different. Okay, this business employs a lot of people. Okay, they employ a lot of people, and they found out that this company employs a lot of parents, and sometimes, depending on what their hours are, they don't have, maybe their kids, maybe it's summer, and they don't have enough time to actually take care of their kids. They can't just leave their kids alone at home, so they would have to find babysitters. They'd have to take them to grandma's house. They'd have to find someone who can help take care of their children while they're out at work. This company found that out and said, okay, this is a big problem. A lot of our employees literally just can't. They can't take care of their kids. They have to spend all this money to take care of them. So let's figure it out. Okay, let's try our best to help these people, and these people would be the least advantaged in the company in terms of their circumstances. They have kids. They don't have as much freedom. They have this time commitment, this monetary commitment to their kids, as opposed to this other group of people who don't have kids, who don't have that obligation, who don't have that responsibility to take care of them, and therefore they're way better off. And as Ross would say, the people who are way better off don't deserve to be way better off. They didn't just because they don't have kids doesn't mean that they deserve that advantage over the people who did have kids. They don't deserve it because you don't truly deserve anything in life, as Rawls would say. So this company looked into it and they said, let's figure some way to fix this. And their first thought was, let's build a daycare center real close, right next to our factory, our place of work. I forgot what it was. Whatever it was, let's build a daycare so that parents could bring their kids and it would be subsidized by us. We would pay for it. And that way parents won't have to deal with all these problems about childcare and all that. And they did the math. They figured out the logistics of it. And I believe it was something like they would have to spend about $40,000 per kid per year in order to make this daycare shit work. I don't know about you, but that's fucking horrible, okay? $40,000 per kid, per parent, whatever. That's on top of how much money it would take to even build and keep this place running, right? For all that stuff. And so they said, that's way too much money. We can't do this. How about we try to get all the other businesses around us? Maybe we can get some help from them, some funding from them, whatever. And all these businesses, they said, yeah, we don't have that problem. Honestly, we don't need it. We're fine. You figure it out. So it was just way too much money for them. They couldn't help out the parents that way. Like I'm saying, how much is too much, right? How much help is too much help before you're trying to help the least advantage and you're actually putting yourself at a really big, just like disadvantage for yourself because you're trying to help these people. How much is too much? And what they decided to do instead is give a stipend to every parent, every parent for a month, I believe, to pay for child expenses, for daycare expenses, I would say. And it's literally every parent, not just the parents that can't find daycare. It's not just the parents that need it the most, every parent. So what if you're a parent that every day or every time you go to work and that you need to, instead of, having to have a daycare, maybe your grandma lives nearby. I mean, their grandma, your mom lives nearby. So you just take them to grandma. Grandma loves having the kids. It's barely any inconvenience to her. Of course, she has to spend money on them, buy them food, watch them. It's still work for her, but it's a lot different than having to pay for a real daycare to take care of your kids, right? I'm not crazy, right? It's a little different. I would say it's a little different having grandma take care of it. It's not a big of a financial risk because you're not paying grandma. I would say maybe you pay her something. I'm sure. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. It'll definitely be less than than the money you would pay a daycare to take care of your kids. I would assume. I would assume grandma's rates aren't as big as a business, daycare business, but they still get the same exact stipend as a parent that has to take their kids to a daycare. It's the same thing. Is that sound? Is that ethically sound? Is that a good thing to do? Give every single parent this stipend for childcare every month? Is that all right to do? Now, sure, you're helping parents who are, in this case, are the least advantaged, right? There's a gap there between people who have kids and people who don't. Obviously, the people who don't have kids are more well off than the people who don't have kids. So the gap is there. I'm not denying that gap. But all that money that you're spending on these parents, you could be spending it in other ways, right? You could use them to give the other people money, right? The people who don't have parents. I mean, if the people who don't have kids, sorry, if the people who don't have kids didn't choose, right, according to Rawls, if they didn't choose to have kids, it's not their fault that they had kids. It's not their fault. They don't deserve that money. What about the other people who also don't have kids? They didn't deserve it. They didn't deserve not to have kids. They didn't choose it. Maybe they did, but it's all according to their how they were raised. So why should the people who don't have kids be treated, you know, oh my god, so be treated so much better and get all this money than the people who don't? Think about all the things that money could be used for. That money could be all that money that is going to the parents. It could be donated, right? It could be donated to the community. It could be donated to a nonprofit, to any cause. It could be used to help make conditions at the business better. It could be used to give benefits to the employees, but instead it's being used for the singular purpose of people who have kids. Is that right? Is that right to single out this group of people who, yes, they definitely have more hardships? I would say they're how Ross would say, least advantaged people in this situation. But is it okay to take their needs and prioritize these people over everybody else? This is, I would say, an antithesis to utilitarianism, right? Utilitarianism cares about the greatest benefit to the most people, and Rawls cares about giving benefit to the least advantaged, who are usually minorities, usually not the greatest majority of people. So, like, what do you guys think? Honestly, what do you guys think is the right thing to do in this situation? Do you think it's right to give them that stipend? Maybe, do you think it's right to just let them figure out on their own? Like, what do you guys think? I would love to fucking hear what your thoughts about. I suck at this game. What your thoughts about this are. Now, this whole thing about not deserving anything that you have, right? That's very honestly, it's very interesting to me, to be honest, because let's think about it this way. In the terms the scenario I just talked about, right, where this business gives these people who are least advantaged this monetary gain just because they're least advantaged. I feel like if you're one of the people who doesn't have a kid, you'd be pretty fucking mad. Honestly, you'd be pretty salty at the end of the day to know that just because this person has a kid, they're getting like an extra maybe $5,000 a month to take care of that kid. And like I said, maybe they're not even using that fucking money to take care of the kid. They're just giving them to grandma, and grandma takes care of them for free, and then they can just pocket that change. I'd be mad, right? I'd feel some kind of way. I would, knowing that just because of this person's circumstances, they're getting better benefits than I am. I would totally be mad. And let's change it like this, right? Taking away something from somebody just to give them to the least advantage, that has a lot of problems on its own. A good way I like to think about it is in the terms of work, right? Most of the time, I would say if you work really hard, well, and there's the thing, right? Here's another thing before I get to that. Do you deserve, let's say you're a very hardworking person, right? Let's say you're a very hardworking person. You put everything you have into working and making sure that you do the best you could possibly have. Do you deserve rewards more than somebody who just kind of slacks off and barely does like the bare minimum amount of barely does the bare minimum amount of work? I mean, just thinking about it, you would say, yeah, if you work hard, you definitely deserve more than somebody who doesn't work as hard as you. But it's not that simple. It's not that simple. What if you're working really hard, but you're a fucking ass at that shit, right? You put all your might and your work into it, and you're horrible. I like to think about it in my perspective as a musician, right? Let's say you spend hours and hours and hours practicing for an audition to be first chair in a certain band, in a certain concert band, and some fucking prodigy who has been playing since they were two, they really don't have to give a shit about playing. They literally could just do it. They definitely didn't work as hard as you at that moment, right? Maybe they're just naturally gifted and they don't have to work as hard as you to play better than you. Do you deserve that spot in the band more than they do just because you worked harder than them? I mean, that's the thing. Yeah, you might work really hard, but that doesn't mean you're entitled to that spot in the band. It doesn't mean that you deserve it. Of course, Roswell, you don't deserve anything. It's really hard to think about because yeah, you see somebody who is not even trying, maybe at a class, maybe they're really good at math for some reason, and you work, and I feel like this has happened to everybody. You go to your buddy and you're like, "Did you study for the test?" And they're like, "Nah, I didn't study for the test." And you're like, "Me neither. Let's see how it goes." And you both take the test, and you do ask because you didn't study, and he does like fucking amazing somehow because like I guess he just gets it. Or maybe he didn't study at all, and you spent the entire like night awake, miserable studying. You spent maybe a couple days, a whole ass week studying for this test, and you do worse than your friend. This other person doesn't have to be a friend, obviously. This other person who didn't study. Like, is that fair? Like, what is fair in this scenario? I don't know, cause like maybe, yeah, you didn't study. I mean, maybe yeah, he didn't study, but maybe before he took AP classes and you didn't, and he has this other better knowledge of math than you do because you didn't take all those classes and you haven't worked for it before, and he has already put in the time. Maybe he's just fucking good at it. Maybe he just gets it. Who deserves to do good on the test? Do you deserve to do good on the test because you worked hard for it, because you have a good work ethic? Well, obviously, let's look at the work ethic and all the hard work. Where did that come from? Was it from your parents, or your parents hounding you every night to work hard to study? They're like, that's definitely my experience. My parents would definitely always come into my room and say, "Why aren't you studying? Why are you playing fucking games? Where's the extra bit of work?" I always said that. I would say, "I already finished my homework, Dad. All right, it's done. I'm good. I can play." And he's like, "Where's the extra? Right? Why aren't you putting in more effort?" And I feel like if you're that kid, you're gonna work harder because you're made to work harder. So does your hard work really come from you? And once again, back to this thing, do you deserve the fruits of your labor? Do you deserve the fruits of your hard work? Raltzian Raltz would say, fuck no. Fuck that. That's not yours. It's not yours. You don't deserve it. That's harsh, I would say. Because even though you're not the one who maybe wanted to work hard, you still did it. Right? You still put on all this effort and you still hounded yourself, put yourself on all those books, and maybe you could have been doing so many other things. You could have been going out with your friends. You could have been playing games. You could have been just fucking relaxing, and instead, you're working. Think about it like going to college. For 4 years, you are going to college. You are spending all this money. You are wasting all this time, or not, maybe not wasting, but you're investing all this time so that maybe one day in the future you could get a better job. I don't know if you've seen the job market right now, but it's not looking very good, right? People get these incredible degrees. They spend 4 years, 6 years, fucking 8 years going to college, and they can't find a job. They can't find a fucking job. Maybe they find a job and it's like the lowest salary, and they have to work their way up. Is that fair? Is that fair to them that they can't get a job even though they put in all this effort, all this time, all this money into going to college? Once again, Ralts would say it's not fair, right? It's completely fair because your circumstances, your birth, whatever natural talents you had, whatever social aspects you had allowed you to go to college. So you don't deserve that more than anybody else. And okay, now moving away from that, out of this tangent that I was in, I want to get back to this other thing, this unique aspect of Ralts that I think is a really big detriment, I would say, to society, innovation in general. Because when you tell people that they're not entitled to the fruits of their labor, all the shit that they worked hard for, they don't deserve it. What happens? What happens when you tell somebody that they don't deserve what they worked hard for? I would say they're probably going to stop working hard, right? If you're at a company and you're working your ass off, maybe you're doing sales, right? You're getting all these sales a month, more than anybody else, and you're supposed to be getting all these bonuses for every sale, all these commissions for every sale you make. And there's this other person who is making barely anything, right? Any sales. They're not working hard at all, but that is making them poor, or they're not getting as much money as you. Ralts would say this person should be helped. And one way of doing that is making a cap on how much money you can earn. Now we're back to taking away something from somebody to give it to somebody else. You're taking away the money that this person would earn from commissions, from all the sales that they're getting, right? They're making all these sales, they're making all these calls, they're getting this commission, and you're taking that away and giving it to somebody else who is least advantaged, isn't making as many calls, isn't making as many sales. That would basically make anybody, I would say, think, what the fuck is the point? Right? Like, what the fuck is the point of working hard if at the end of the day somebody could just not work hard and just get rewarded anyways? What's the point? At that point, innovation would be pretty fucked, right? People would stop wanting to work hard at work. They would stop wanting to think of new ideas of doing things, because what benefit does it give them if they're just gonna get sidelined because somebody else is least advantaged and would just take all their money? What is the point of overachieving and trying if you could just not try and you're still gonna get helped? So I think that's another reason why Ralts falls apart, because it basically makes the idea of merit and earning things mute. It makes it meaningless. If it's deterministic and nobody deserves anything, and you're just gonna get your shit taken away from you because you don't deserve it and this other person needs it. Obviously they don't deserve it, but they need it, so they should be helped. Then what's the point of you trying hard at all? And I believe that's kind of all I wanted to talk about Ralts. I don't have any other things that I had planned to talk about other than our segment about the trolley problem. Now, here's the deal. I thought a lot about the utilitarian trolley problem. I have not thought about the Raltsian trolley problem. But I'm going to do my... Oh, fuck that guy. That guy's got full ass diamond. Anyways, I'm going to try my best to figure out the way that Ralts himself would think about the trolley problem. So here we go. Same scenario. If you don't know the trolley problem, I'll explain it again, but a little faster. If maybe just go back to the utilitarian video, you can see that. You can see me explain it a little more. But gist of it is, there's a train coming. There's two tracks. You have a lever that switches the tracks. The current track has 4 people laying on it, and if you switch the track, it switches it to 1 person, right? So it's the lives of 4 people against 1 person, and you have to be the one to switch the track. What the fuck do you do? I've explained that it depends for utilitarians, obviously, but I believe most of the time they would definitely save the 4 people against the 1 person, because that is the most people that are being benefited against the 1 person that is being harmed. So the ratio of harm to good is bigger on the good side. Of course, there's sometimes where utilitarians wouldn't do it, as if the life of 1 person would impact and make the world better, impact more lives, make better than the other 4 people. That's where utilitarian would definitely choose to save the 1 person, but most of the time they choose to save 4 people. Now let's think about what Rawls would do. What the fuck would Rawls do in this situation? Obviously, nobody deserves to die, right? The 4 people don't deserve to die. The 1 person doesn't deserve to die the least. But how about this? Those 4 people, are they the least advantaged in this situation? They're the ones that the trolley is heading down towards, right? They're currently in the situation that, right, if you didn't pull the lever and you weren't there, they would be the ones to die. They didn't choose to be in that situation. So I believe that they're probably the least advantaged. And in this very simplified scenario, Rawls would definitely flip the lever, because they didn't deserve to die just as much as the other person doesn't deserve to die, but there's more of them. But then that kind of sounds a bit utilitarianistic to me, right? There's more many outweigh the few kind of type shit. So is there a different way to think about it? What the fuck? Bro's got the underpro. I don't know. Is there another way to think about it for Rawls, for the Rawls theory of justice? How about this? Let's switch it up just a little bit. How about the 4 people that are on the train tracks? They chose to be there. What if they chose to be there, and the person who is on the other side, the 1 person, was put there by force? I feel like in this situation, he would be the least advantaged. This person would be the least advantaged. That person didn't choose to do it. Now, of course, the other 4 people, they didn't choose to be there either. Not really, right? This is deterministic. They happen to end up there because of other circumstances. But still, this person has their life fucking shit on and ruined because they're kidnapped and they're put on the thing. At that point, it could be argued that Rawls would, instead of saving the 4 people, would actually save the 1 person, because he is technically least advantaged. That could be one way of looking at it. I don't know if it's the right way of looking at it. I really don't. But it could be one way of looking at it. Now, just like in the utilitarian video where I looked at the people, let's look at the people. What would have to happen for a Rawlsian to choose the 4 people? Because it's always choose to kill the 4 people. Because I feel like it's, for most people, they would pull the lever. That's what I'm saying. Unless you think it would be like you would be more. It's more of like a you kill the other person, other than if you don't do anything, you're just a bystander. You weren't directly involved. But in just the case of life to life, most people, I think, would choose to pull the lever and kill the 1 person. So I just want to find out and see what would it take for a Rawlsian to not pull to pull the lever. Sorry, to not pull. What would it take for a Rawlsian to not pull that lever and let the 4 people die and save the 1? I would say, once again, you have to take a look at the people involved. And pretty honestly, I would say that that's hard, because here's another part of the Ralt's way of thinking that I haven't really showed, and that is that it's okay in, I guess, business terms, right? It's okay for somebody to make a lot of money, for somebody to be a CEO and get a big fucking wage every month, and if, right, if by them gaining that money, by them gaining that wealth, it is still positively impacting the least advantage. What does that mean? Well, let's say a CEO is getting hella money because he's the CEO, and he uses that money to raise the wages, lowering the gap between their money, their financial status. Maybe he uses that money to help, to donate, right? Help other people. That's helping other least advantaged people if he donates them to a good cause. Maybe he's using that money, all those extra profits that he gets, he's using that money to improve working conditions, right? All that. So it's not just you're the least advantaged and everybody else go fuck yourself, right? It's a little more nuanced, just a tad. I feel it's a little more nuanced than that. It's still about the least advantaged, but there's a case where the most advantaged people could still benefit. That could still be the best option if it obviously still benefits the most least advantaged. So how does this relate to the trolley problem? I don't fucking know. Okay, let's say you have on the singular train track. So you have a CEO of a non-profit. And this non-profit, he built from the ground up. He runs it. Without him, it's fucked. He's got the vision. And this non-profit helps so many poor people, so many people from poor countries that are struggling. He helps so many people. And then on the other side, you just got 4 middle-class people. Just random people. Maybe, one of them is an engineer. One of them's a doctor. Whatever. I don't think it would matter at that point. Maybe they're just regular people. I believe Ralts and a Raltian, a true Raltian, would not pull the lever. I think they would let the 4 people die, because in this scenario, the one person living can impact the lives of all these other needy people. There's other people that need him, these least advantaged. And in that sense, that is pretty similar to utilitarianism, really, right? In this sense, I feel they have that bit of overlap there. But how about this other scenario where the person on the other side is homeless? The person on the other side is an abuse victim, right? What if they were abused by their significant other? They were taken advantage of. They were used. They have no money. They're beat every day. They're literally like the most least advantaged person you could ever think of, right? And on the other side, once again, you have your 4 regular middle class people. Oh my God. I would dare to say that Ralts would probably choose to not flip that lever just because the other person is so much more down on their luck, more least advantaged than the other 4 people. That's what I would think. In that situation, Ralts would not pull the lever. And he would let the 4 people die and save the one. That one is definitely a lot different than utilitarianism, because that's choosing the one against the many. But this one person is so least advantaged that Ralts just has to help him. That is just my interpretation of it. Everyone can have their own interpretation. I would love to hear your interpretation. What do you think the right answer is? And obviously, what the fuck is right? Oh my God. Like, what is the right thing to do? That's so hard to quantify. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get at in these videos, just to show how hard making a right decision is, because there's so much nuance in life, and you can't just say it's black and white. You can't just say this is right, this is wrong, because you have to think about everything into account. You have to think about the least advantage in terms of Ralts. Is this action going to help the least advantage? Is it just going to help me? Is this going to help the most amount of people? as utilitarian would say, it's so nuanced, right? And next up, next video, I'm gonna be talking about Nozick's rights theory. That one gets fucked, honestly. I think that one's probably my favorite that I've learned so far. It's definitely the one I had to really wrap. I had a hard time trying to wrap my head around. I really did. So that's coming up next. And hell yeah, thank you all for watching SomeNighterZ. I hope I see you next time. I hope you enjoy this. This is really fucking different. I don't know. I like it. The second I thought about doing this, I was like, hell yeah, this is awesome, and hopefully you guys think it's awesome. And if you're using this shit to sleep, hell yeah. Honestly, hell yeah. That's what I would love, for people to use my videos to go to sleep. Hopefully I'm not too rowdy. I hope I'm not too rowdy to allow you guys to sleep. Hopefully this is nice, just hearing me ramble. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, SomeNighterZ. I will see you all in my next installment, or my next video, whatever comes out first. And good night. Good night, everybody.